writing a research article, it can be really easy to get stuck with what sources should you use for different parts of your research article. In this video today, I'm going to introduce you to the sponsor of this video, which is Sourcely. And I want to thank them for sponsoring this video and for providing discount codes to you guys if you're interested in using a paid plan of Sourcely. So this is the new redesigned Sourcely. In Sourcely, you can now create new documents and then add your text to a document instead of only having a text box and finding sources that way. So this is the new redesigned Sourcely. So with this, I went ahead and wrote the first paragraph of an introduction for a research article on steroids analysis of eye mobility. If you're interested in how I developed this and what my process was for writing an introduction, I would check out my scientific research paper checklist. It walks you through how to come up with a paragraph like this. Once I've written this, I'm not sure what the best references are for each part of this introduction. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and find sources. So instead of finding sources on this entire text and finding a series of sources for this entire text, what Sourcely does is actually find citation-worthy text. And so you're going to see that shown here, and it highlights the citation-worthy text in the paragraph that I wrote. And so it's saying that these are the things that are going to be your more citation-worthy things to actually highlight. What this means is now it's only looking for sources for one idea at a time. Instead of, if you put this into most engines that would try and find sources, it would look for sources for the entire text. And typically this results in finding really unrelated sources because it's searching for too many keywords at once. We can see the different text here. We can click on these drop downs to see the specific sources it found for each one of these. So we can see that for steroids are an important biomolecular class. We can see we're getting information about steroids, and these are really like reviews about steroids, and some about cell signaling. Steroids are misused to enhance performance in sports. We're getting things about doping control, doping agents, so all of the things that would be more related to doping. So it's not going to give me as much information about what steroids are in general. It's actually focused on that specific idea. And then if we come down here to steroids present an analytical challenge, we can see that we're getting specific reviews that are about analytical challenges of steroids instead of just steroids in general, right? We're getting much more specific things without me having to go in and highlight each one of these and find citations for each one of these. This is a really fast way to be able to do it. If we scroll down, we have all the relevant sources. So these are going to be all of those sources combined together. Now on our right hand side, we do have these quick scrolls, so we can easily scroll back up to the main text. We can go scroll to the citation worthy text highlights and all relevant sources in case you have a really long text that you're working with. The other thing that's really nice about Sourcely is from the previous version of Sourcely, they brought in the ability to use filters. When I click to use filters, there's a few different filters that I can use. So I can specify the dates of the publications, the minimum number of citations that source needs to have. I can include specific keywords. So if I wanted everything to include the keyword steroids, I could include that. I could exclude specific keywords. If I know that certain keywords tend to show up that aren't actually related to what I'm talking about, I can easily exclude them. And I can search for document types. So what I am going to do is I'm going to say 2010 is the earliest I want publications from. And because I am working with a introduction and really the first sentence, so I'm working primarily talking about background knowledge and significance in my introduction, what I'm actually going to do is specify to only give me review articles. And so the goal with this is that really the best sources I could be citing right now are review articles, not research articles that are mentioning review articles. So I want to go back to as close as I can to the primary source of literature. So I'm going to specify to review articles, I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to refine sources. So you can see in this case, when I refound the sources, it actually re-looked for citation-worthy text and captured another text down here about eye mobility being coupled to mass spectrometry. So this would give me nice sources for this sentence here, and it's a little bit more distributed. From this, we can see now that all of our sources are now review articles instead of including research articles. And a nice feature about Sourcely is it actually pulls from the text a section or a snippet of that text that can give you information about about what it's talking about and potentially related to the specific conversation that you're talking about. Something like being important biomolecule, steroids have always played probably something in there for monitoring a specific signal transduction pathway using. So it gives you a little bit of information about it. You can also click the summary to generate a summary, and it can take about 15 to 20 seconds to read and summarize. It gives me quite a comprehensive summary of that article for me to determine if it is a good article for me to use. If you click on the title, it will open a new page for that specific source. You have the metadata information, including authors, journal, the year it was published, and how many times it's been cited. The snippet is shown there that I talked about earlier. You can generate a summary, view the source, which is the same as clicking on the title. You can save it to your library. So if I click saving, it will now save it to my library, and then you can also export. When you export, it will give you a few different options to export. So you can export an MLA, APA, Harvard, or IEEE citation formats, or you can export the bib text to put it into a new reference manager for it to be able to generate its own citation format. I'm going to actually show you a new feature they just implemented in a few minutes that actually makes it so much easier to export out all of your citations at once. This allows you to work with each one of your sources individually. If you want to export them all together, so let's say you think all of these are really good, or if you want to do it for a single source, what you can do is click this export all. What it'll do is it'll say it's sending an email with the exported citations to your email. And so when you go to your email, you will be able to download off that exported citations. So I did this for only this one citation here. What I can also do is do it for all the relevant sources it found for this paragraph. So I'm going to go ahead and click export all, and that'll send me a second email with all of those sources. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into my email and download that, and I'm going to show you how you can easily get these into Zotero using that export all feature. So this is in the email that they sent me, and what you can see is that it shows that it gives you 5 different files. You can basically export the citations as a bib text format, or if you already know the specific citation style and you're going to use one of these 4, you can export the bibliography, and so it's already formatted correctly for you. So I'm going to go ahead and download the citations.bib file, and now we're going to upload it into Zotero. So I'm going to have my Zotero open here, and I'm going to create a new folder. So within my library, I'm going to say a new collection. I'm going to call it the article that I'm working on, and I'm going to go ahead and create that collection. And then within it, I'm going to have a new sub-collection, and I'm going to call it paragraph 1, and this is just going to be because it's all the sources from my first paragraph. And now what I can do is I can say file, import, and then I'm going to say I'm going to import a file, and I'm going to click continue. I'm going to select the citations.bib file that I got from my email, and then I'm going to go ahead and import. And when that's done, it imported all of my citations into a new file, so I can easily copy those, add them to a paragraph, and now I can go ahead and delete that collection. Now all of the sources that I found are easy for me to use. If I wanted to just add one source at a time, we can come in here, and I'm going to choose one of these. If I click the export, I can just copy this bib text, and if I go into Zotero, I'm going to click File, and I'm going to just say Import from Clipboard, and it's going to automatically import that in. Now it already came in on the bib text file. That would be how you could easily import a single source in. The last thing I want to show you is actually your library. So if you want to add only the ones that you're interested in to your library and then export them all from there, we can go up to our library, and so you click this little book icon up here, and you can see right now I have 2 within my library, the one I just added and one I added previously, and I can search within my library, and I can also export all from my library, and that will send the same looking email to my email and allow me to be able to download the bib files from there. If I click this back button here, it will take me back to the document, my top document, or the last document I was working on. If you're interested in Sourcely, I will have a link in the description below, and I will also leave discount codes up here and in the description below if you're interested in getting started with Sourcely to find your citations faster. And if you're interested in how to write another research article, I will leave a video up here all about a 5-step system for how to write your next research article.